Hey guys, I'm back with another video. I have some cool stuff in bloom to show off to you guys. That's about it. No long-winded introduction today. I just want to show you guys some cool flowers. So let's go get started. All right, let's get this one out of the way first because it's kind of a cool story. This is Cattleya Sunspots exotic orchids cross Cattleya interglossa exotic orchids. And this I actually got from High Desert Orchids as part of their project plant project that they do once in a while, which is this really fun thing where she'll get a big huge batch of a bunch of seedlings and we all take home the same plant, but we're all growing them in different environments and different conditions and stuff. So it's just sort of fun to see what happens and compare notes and see who blooms at first and all that fun stuff. So she's done it a few times now. It's always been really fun and successful. The thing that's sort of funny about this one is this is from the first project plant that she did. So other project plants have come and gone and been really fun and successful and stuff, but nobody had bloomed this first one yet. And it's just kind of funny. I was really shocked to find mine was in bud and here it is in bloom. So I get the bragging rights to go post my pictures to the group and brag about it. But honestly, I think I just got kind of lucky. I haven't been growing this thing as well as I could have, I'm sure. They are kind of tricky plants because they're like a bifoliate type Cattleya, which are notoriously more difficult. They're kind of slower growing. They need really good light and humidity, and they're just a bit more sensitive than other Cattleyas, so I'm not terribly surprised that these were kind of slow to bloom. But it's a really beautiful cross, and I'm not the first person ever to bloom this. I think I'm just the first person to bloom it from that particular batch, because if you look up pictures, there are pictures of the cross, but still exciting that I bloomed it. It's very, very fragrant. It's very rosy smelling, a bit kind of like citronella or like bug spray or something, but it's pretty nice. The flower actually came out deformed as well. These two sepals down here are like fused together, so it's not opening properly, which is kind of a shame, but it's a first bloom, so that's not uncommon to have kind of poor flower shape the first time it blooms, but I'm excited to see how it does in the future. I'm excited to see everyone else bloom theirs because the cross seems to be quite variable. So very fun, very cool. And of course, we have to take a look at my Masdevallia ofvichyana, which you may have seen in my last video when we looked at the flower underneath my new macro lens, which was pretty cool. But I thought we'd just take a look at the plant as a whole too. So this particular Masdevallia ofvichyana, I have several of them. This one is a 4N, so it's supposed to be tetraploid. I got this one from Equigenera. I haven't managed to get more than like 1 or 2 flowers at a time out of any of my Vicchianas, but the flowers are so spectacular that even getting one is a real treat. I got the flower wet, so I feel like that's kind of taking away from the color a bit, and the flower's just getting a little old now. I'll insert a couple pictures of the flowers when they were sort of at their prime, and you can see that crazy color saturation. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the culture right now because I am planning on doing a general Masdevallia care video. I did one a while ago and it's a pretty good video. If you are interested, you can go find it on my channel, but it was a while ago and I think it's time for an updated one because I have been growing them a little longer now and I've learned some stuff, but it's still a good video. So it's a good place to start if you are curious how I care for my Masdevallias, but I will definitely follow up and talk more about them in the future. Bro, check that out. This is my Fall Orchid World Carmilla. It's my first time blooming it and I'm in love with this thing. I am really blown away by this flower. Pictures just didn't do it justice. I didn't realize how big the flower would be. Obviously fall flowers can be quite big, but a lot of these kind of like warmer growing novelty type falls tend to have smaller flowers, I think, but this one's pretty huge and that color is just like so striking and beautiful. This is fragrant as well, and it's not a terribly strong fragrance. You have to get kind of close to it to smell it, but it is really nice. Reminds me of like bubblegum or watermelon or something. It's really nice, interesting fragrance. Kind of easy to care for as long as your temps are on like the warmer side. I think when they grow a little too cold, they're kind of prone to issues. I've had like Bellinas and stuff in the past where they're just like super prone to like getting fungal spots and weird things like that. This seems to be a lot more kind of hardy and like has a thicker kind of cuticle to the leaf. It still has that nice kind of like glossy foliage that you get with some of the summer blooming phals, but not as sensitive, which is nice. So if you are looking for some fragrant phals, this is a pretty good one, and it doesn't seem to be quite as sensitive as some of the others. Really great addition to my collection. I don't have a lot of like fragrant summer blooming phals, and I really need to get some more, so this was a really nice one to add to the collection. Here is a really exciting one. This is my Pleurothalid Astrophora, and it is in flower, as you can see here, but the flowers are so small that we're gonna have to use my new macro lens to get a closer look at it. But I did just want to show you the plant as a whole. It's really nice, good shape. I got it from Equigenera a few months back, and I'm thrilled. It's got a lot of new leaves coming in. It's got a couple spikes. There's one or two in the back as well. And I am just in love with it, but let's zoom in and take a look at those cute little flowers. Here it is. This is my Pleurothalid Astrophora underneath my little macro lens. And it looks awesome. You can finally see the awesome little detail on the flowers. I love the star shape. That's probably where they get that name, Astrophora. And it's gorgeous. They remind me almost of like little Phalaenopsis flowers or something. It's really beautiful. And it's actually not terribly difficult as far as these little Pleurothalid types go. It's definitely, you know, not like a windowsill plant by any means, but it's not quite as difficult as some others. So it's not a bad one to try if you are wanting to get some little micro minis. It's a really nice one. I won't spend too much time talking about it right now because it does have more spikes and buds coming, so I'm sure I'll feature it again in an upcoming video. But I just wanted to give you guys a look at it because it's so beautiful. All right, last but not least, let's check out all the pink stuff in the corner here. This little phal in the front is called Faltaesco Jasper, and I bought it as like a no ID at a grocery store. I learned the ID later on, but I don't typically buy phals from grocery stores anymore, but once in a while you find a really great one, and you know, I was pretty pleased to score this for like 12 bucks, so really nice find. Really cool colors. I post pictures of this when it's in bloom, and to me it almost looks like I like enhanced the colors in the photo or something, but it just looks that way. It has such nice color saturation. So really nice find. And I like the flower shape. It definitely looks like it has like Doritos in it or something. It's got that kind of unusual shape. Really cool. Really happy to have this one. Not bad for, you know, a few bucks at the grocery store. And finally, we have my beautiful Iwanagara apple blossom. And there it is. I have like 3 spikes. There's 2 in bloom, and then there's a small one with just a couple buds coming in down there. I've bloomed this a couple times, but this is definitely the most spikes and the most flowers I've ever had on it, so I'm pretty excited. It's a really beautiful hybrid. It's kind of famous, but for good reason. The flowers have a really distinct look to them, and I think a lot of that comes from an orchid in its heritage called Calarthron, which we actually talked about recently because one of my other Cattleya hybrids called Dream Dust also has Calarthron in its heritage, and it gives it this really interesting kind of look. It gets this very star-shaped flower, as well as a lot of like freckling tiny little spots. Is also a trait of the Calarthron. It has a similar kind of growth habit and bulb shape to them. Fun fact about Calarthron also is that the pseudobulbs are actually hollow because in the wild they sort of have like a symbiotic relationship with ants that live inside them, kind of like those ant plants. So that's a really fun fact. So it's just a cool little interesting fact to know about apple blossom. Whenever I find a Cattleya that has Calarthron in its heritage, it always, I'm always drawn to those because it's such an interesting plant. And you can always tell right away, it's such a distinct look when a Cattleya has Calarthron in its heritage. So that's something I like about this. It's not like the fastest growing Cattleya. They're pretty hardy. They aren't terribly difficult to grow. One other thing I noticed too, and I could be wrong, but it seems like when they put out a new growth, it doesn't flower right away. It's like they put out a new growth, but then like the following spring is when it blooms, if that makes sense. Let me know if you have apple blossom and if that's the case with yours. I think that's kind of how it went with this, but I can't remember exactly when these new growths came in. But yeah, really gorgeous. I'm really happy to finally be getting more than one spike on it. I hope in the future, maybe I'll have, really nice big bloom display, because that would be really stunning. Okay guys, I think I'm gonna end it here. I do have some other stuff that's like on the verge of blooming, so I could have waited a couple more days, but I figured I would do 2 videos, one now and then I'll do another one in a week or 2 to show you the rest of what I have, so stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers now, which is crazy. If I do make it to 1,000, I'll try to do something special, maybe like a giveaway. Maybe I'll send a plant out to one of you guys. We can have a little contest or something. I don't know. I'll think of something fun, but I really appreciate it. So click that subscribe button, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.